Welcome back to another video. Finally managed to get hold of another light for testing. This is the Olight Perun, which was sent in via Bantac / Ruyu. So we'll run through the specs as per usual. Main points to note on this are the run times. They're increased due to the larger battery that they've supplied. Standard packaging on this. I have listed the dimensions on screen for you. Also the H2R, because this is supposedly an upgrade to that model, and the weight is including the battery for both of these lights. You'll notice it's slightly longer, a little bit heavier, but not by much. It's very close. The clip that comes with this is removable. You can just pull that off. It's a double clip and it feels a little bit stronger than the original H2R one. Thick rubber cover on the switch with the signature blue Olight ring, and that is angled as well. Just makes it a little bit easier to get to. On the underside there's the magnetic charging port. I'll just show you with the charger being attached. When I unscrew the head, you'll see that the spring is at the top, and as per usual we have the custom cell that's included with this. What they've done is increased it to 3500 mAh instead of the 3000 over the previous version. You have your double contacts at the front, but you can use other cells such as this unprotected one with a spacer, or if you have the higher capacity protected cells, just put them facing down towards the bottom. Now you won't be able to charge them in the torch unfortunately, but at least you can use your own batteries on this. And a quick shot on the inside showing you those contact points. It's like a double spring they've put in there. Olight don't specify the LED on this, but they do have an optical lens, and you'll see that sensor at the top in an oval shape. I'll get onto that a little bit later on. User guide, I will put that on the screen for you just to show you that a bit later in the video. You also get a nice little tool here to help you attach the wrist strap, as well as the magnetic charging cable. This one is the faster one, hence it's red, and you've also got your wrist strap there if you want that. The headband comes separately with this, so you have to make sure to get it if you want that. I'm not sure why Olight have done that, but it can be used with the H2R as well. It's virtually the same headband, very little difference. The only thing that I could see is they've changed the markings, the reflective strips on the side from the arrow shape. Apart from that, it's very much the same headband, and I'm okay with that. It's pretty good, feels quite secure. With the new body styling versus the flat body on the H2R, I find it a little bit harder to turn. Perhaps that's just a small point to note. It is quite grippy in the hand, but perhaps less suited when it's in the headband, but it's still pretty secure. If you don't want to have that magnet, you can take it out. There is the pad on the back. You notice that you've got the pads included with this, so that you can take it out, put the other pad inside, and then put a new pad over it. Onto the user interface, single press on off, push and hold to change the power levels. You do have a memory with that, except the turbo or the SOS. If you want to get to the ultra low, just push and hold that in for about a second, and then if you hold it in for longer, that takes you into your lockout, which gives you a momentary. If you want to get to the turbo mode, just hit that with a double press, and that works with the light on, or if it's off, it will head straight to the turbo mode. And you're quoting around a couple of minutes with this, but we'll test that later on. Triple press for the strobe mode, and then finally if you want to use the timer, just double press and hold when it's on, and you have the choice of 2 timers on this light, just like previous Olight models. Quick look at the proximity sensor. This varies depending on the object that you have. It could be an inch or 2 away and it will start to activate. It drops it down to about 30 lumens if you're a power level above that, but it varies significantly. Brighter objects could be further away, and it will shut off after a minute. I did a few tests on the sensor to see if it was tricked, and sometimes if water does hit it, it can drop down in power. That depends greatly on the angle that it hits it. I found running under a tap, sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. All I can say is when I had it outside and it was raining, light to medium rain, I didn't have a problem, but it's possible that you could do with that sensor. Magnetic base on this is very strong even on smooth surfaces, and you also get an included battery case with this one from Bantac. Quick charging test that I did, and they're quoting 1.5 amps, and it's basically on spec with that. So the charging speeds on this are quite a bit faster than the original H2R, so that would be with the battery as well 2 potential advantages, although there are some disadvantages as well, which I'll get onto later on. A few pictures I took outside just to give you a better look with the head strap. User guide is included. The only thing that I can't show you is the low battery warning. When it gets to around 10%, it will start to vibrate once every 30 seconds just to let you know the battery is low. Moving on to the beam shots outside, and you'll notice at 600 lumens, very widespread on this, and then ramping up to turbo you get that soft up and down power levels that you've had on Olights for a while. Very big wide beam, particularly if I compare it to the Nightcore EC30, which is much narrower and gives more range than this light. You don't really notice any problems with that flat area with the proximity sensor unless you are really close to an object. Once you pull back, you don't really notice it at all. I'll crack on now with a few more beam shots and then come back at the end with a few thoughts on this light. It was quite cold outside when I did the runtime test, and you'll notice that it ramped down twice, a couple of minutes, and it dropped down, and then there was another fairly big drop, but that came at around about the 12-minute mark. Runtimes are fairly good considering the power output, which leads me on to my pros and cons section. The Perun is a decent enough light, but to me it doesn't really change that much if I compare it to the H2R. You have a bigger battery, faster charging. I don't find the sensor that useful myself. You also get a little bit less range, and I'd prefer if you had a lower output in the moonlight mode. If you've got any thoughts on this, or you've used it, got your own opinion, do leave a comment below, and thanks for watching the video.